What is up, gamers? So, I was actually thinking about this today and like how PvP games are so prominent, or competitive games, if you will. And I'm just like, I already quit competitive games almost entirely. I do it from every now and then because I'm curious about how gameplay aspects work and how they could be implemented in another kind of game. So that's why I do it. But just the scene of like why people still play it and stuff intrigued me, and I thought I'd share my thoughts of it, which is like because people have like a competitive edge to them, right? And they just want to like prove themselves, right? I have nothing I need to prove, so hence why I pretty much quit competitive. I don't have a reason to prove myself. I don't think it's quote unquote fun because I'm competing, if you will. But I'm curious what others think of too when they say they quit competitive. I feel like it might be similar to mine, but I've never actually seen any videos. So this is going to be my first one. Definitely not my last. But let's go ahead and see what they have to say. There's their original is going to be down in the description, so be sure to check them out and support them too if you like it. But let's go ahead and get started.
When I was a kid, my one
When
true
I was
love was video
13, my
games.
true love was my
I would sit down
Xbox.
and play for hours on end just to pass the time. Very quickly, I fell into the world of competitive gaming, with one of the first games I remember playing sort of competitively being Mortal Kombat X.
For a second there, I thought it was
I
going to
mean,
be
I was
Fortnite
like
ding.
12 or something, so I would just basically spam
It's
the
actually
same
funny.
move over and
It's
over.
actually funny. For me, it was also like, I think Mortal Kombat as well. It was either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. It was one of those ones that was like in the arcades. You know, you would go to an arcade, put in like a couple quarters, and then play it. Yeah, that was me.
Until the guy hopefully died.
Which I also thought was a pretty cool aspect. Like, maybe that's why I played competitive as well. I just wanted to get that experience back when I was a kid and I was able to play with like random strangers that would come up and wanting to play. Like, that was such a cool experience to be like next to a machine and be like, oh, you want to play this Street Fighter game with me? And be like, yeah, let's go. And then you guys would play and like beat each other to death.
And I wasn't like super into it or nothing, but I did dump a bunch of hours. This feeling of taking someone down who had way more wins than me was a feeling like no other.
It's kind of quiet, ain't it? Let's turn it up.
I learned new combos as I got older, but quickly discarded it for something new. This was only the beginning of my descent into degeneracy, and was mostly innocent. My first
Yeah.
true addiction
Oh no.
was Overwatch.
Oh no.
I had dumped hours
Mine was
upon hours.
my first true addiction was Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3.
Hours into this game, learning strategies and improving my aim, just to
Improving. I like how he put it in like big captions. Like improving, like it has something that'll definitely help you in the long run.
one day reach platinum. Every update to the game, I was right on top of. Every buff, nerf, map change, I was so thirsty for this game.
That's actually funny because I too was like that, and I would always try to write down strategies and stuff, and like what character does best against what and what counteracts what, and then I would always do that. But then I realized I came to a part of the game where it's, oh crap, this is a team game. No matter how hard I work, if others don't work just as hard, then can I really go any further? Hence why I went to like solo PvP games, or where my teammates don't matter, which is basically solo. And I do so much better in those games, but I still just do not like competitive because, I don't know, something about it throws me off.
School, I would just think about singing all of my hours into Overwatch. And I did, until my grandma would come into my room for the third time and beg me to stop.
Oh, please stop.
I really enjoyed this
Lol,
idea
no.
of queuing up with a bunch of random teammates and making the best out of the people given to us. Sometimes you would partner up with a group of people for the night.
The only time when like a family member would usually tell you to stop is if it becomes an unhealthy addiction and like you, well, I say this in my personal experience. It's more than likely different for a lot of people, but you start like saying no to a lot of things that you should do or should have done, or you start yelling at a game and then you don't realize that like you're angry or you are angry, but then you blame it because it's on the game, and then they tell you to just stop playing the game, and then you're like, no, it's because of my teammates or something, or it's because that guy's like being cheap. It's stuff like that, which is still an excuse. It's still the game. It's still the competitive aspect of the game. So I find that interesting. I basically dropped it and then I felt so much better.
You guys would end up having the time of your lives, cracking jokes and destroying enemy teams to never even talk to each other again. But eventually, these things stopped mattering to me, and I set my mind on the goal of getting to Platinum. By the end of 700 hours, I finally made it. But my love for the game was beginning to fall apart. The game had changed so much from what it once was. The meta was becoming this boring, sit behind two shields and just shoot from long range until one of us had
Which
a
has changed
quick
now, by the
breakdown.
way.
Also, this grind for competitive points just took out most of the fun parts of the game for me. I always enjoyed switching up my heroes often and trying out new strategies that were unconventional. But to get to Platinum, I just hard made Mercy until I eventually crawled my way into Platinum, not even learning how to play DPS really ever. Eventually, I got burnt out of this game. Plus,
I will say, if you still play Overwatch and you want to climb, it's actually best to play all roles. Play the role that is your worst and try to rank that to your next worst role. And then if they're both the same, choose the one that has a lower queue time. From there, whatever one's lowest, play that one and try to raise it. And by doing that, you're going to gain a knowledge and stuff of like other people that play those roles and understand a bit more. And like you'll understand why they play the way they do, even if it's terrible and bad. But you'll be able to adapt more to the game. So I just figured I'd put that out there for those that's still in the competitive scene.
I mean, a new game had been catching my interest. It was my new obsession. Fortnite. Fortnite was one of the worst things in my life. My
Yeah.
obsession with Fortnite was a tumor attached to my brain. I would wake up thinking about getting on the game, go to school talking amongst my friends about the new updates.
Which is funny because that's not how the situation went for me. When it was Fortnite, I'm not the one that usually brings it up, but everyone at the same time would bring it up because they would do like a dance of Fortnite or something, and they'd be like, yo, that's a Fortnite stuff. And then like everyone starts talking about the game. It's usually ended up like that. But now it's like, I don't know because I'm too old. The game itself, I played Fortnite before PvP was a thing. I played it when shotguns were snipers. I played it when they said they took inspiration of PUBG and almost got sued. Game is great. Battle Royale is great. But I still liked the zombie mode. But I could see why that was boring. Game core mechanics got boring. But PvP side, it's like back then there wasn't really a point, so I kind of quit because there's like no progression, right? Until they started adding battle passes and then like credits and whatnot, which made the game much better. Like even if you're not competitive, there's like other modes in the game, which is nice, and that's what I do. I'm more like a tycoon, typhoon kind of person, so I would play those. I know those are kind of boring too from after like you play a little bit. So yeah, I barely go on Fortnite. PvP itself, still a problem if you plan to play with other people. I think the most immersive part of the PvP in Fortnite is actually solos, which is kind of sad because you see more people often than not play in squads.
coming out instead of paying attention in class. When I first played Fortnite was way back in season 2 of chapter 1. That was December 14th, 2017. And for 2 years straight until they released chapter 2, Fortnite was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would probably average
That sounds
8
terrible,
hours
man.
on Fortnite every day. Why do homework? Why socialize? I could just get better at this random ass building game and I'm sure I'll do just fine in life. I would wait up until 6 a.m. just so that Fortnite would release stink bombs and I would be the first ones to use it.
That's sad.
When a new season dropped, I knew every last thing within the first couple of hours. I would grind all the missions immediately and get my battle pass to the very end just to have that skin that showed me of this accomplishment. I was using this system to give my life meaning at the time.
Exactly. Like I said, people do competitive because they want to prove themselves. They want to have meaning. Because the biggest crisis in life is finding a reason to keep going. So a lot of people use PvP as an aspect to show like their worth. Sadly. And this doesn't apply to just video games. Even if you were to drop video games entirely, PvP is very much a prominent thing IRL. It's just you're not downing other people. Well, let's not get into it, but you know what I mean. There's other ways to lose IRL besides quote-unquote downing someone.
The battle pass gave me purpose, no matter how stupid that sounds. I would play the same game day in and day out just for a chance for being number 1 in this huge lobby of
Fortnite
people.
number 1.
There was so much
I don't
could
know how
have
the song
focused on
goes.
in my actual life, but I was too scared to face what I had already.
Carol, the person over here ish. I don't know if I'm blocking them or not. Right here. I actually love using that skin in Fortnite. That's one of my favorites.
Done to myself. I was rapidly falling behind in school, neglecting my own hygiene, and I decided that the only thing I cared about was being number 1 in a video
I
game.
want to be number 1.
It made me feel as if I was actually accomplishing something. But really what it made me accomplish was another day decaying. Another day avoiding all my responsibilities.
Yep.
Another day doing literally nothing with my life.
Yep.
And I was okay with that because I reached number 1 in a video.
And then eventually you're gonna have a midlife crisis or something even before your midlife and be like, wow, I hate everything. And that's when you realize I need to stop playing competitive. Of course, it doesn't apply to everyone, obviously. Some people make a living on it. Some people still smoking the copium or huffing the copium. I don't know how that saying goes. They get the copium? Anyways, you get what I mean. Copium.
Video game. It's pathetic.
They make excuses.
Slowly, I stopped even getting better at the game. I would just stare at the screen and hope that I win. Not trying to strategize, no training, just sit down, lose, load up again, lose, load up.
Which actually is a lot more fun than actually doing strategies and stuff. You're not as stressed out, which is actually kind of cool. It's the hardest thing to do. The self-control to being able to do something like that is astronomical for some people. Like, almost feels impossible. It's by far almost like a talent. But if you're able to achieve such a thing, then competitive to non-competitive, it doesn't matter anymore. You're just there to unwind. And that is one of the best feelings you can have. But of course, you're not going to be able to unwind if you're not doing other stuff that's productive.
Up, lose. It was that until it was time to sleep. Becoming a actual robot for Fortnite. And after this, it only got worse. I stopped caring about even improving in the video game that I was playing. And in real life, COVID was about to hit. And with COVID came my newest, worst addiction. League of Legends.
No!
2020 was a terrible year for a lot of us. I was held up in my house, and if I wasn't paying attention in class before, then I really wasn't now. I would just sleep through my classes, and slowly I started going literally insane as I lost motivation to even get out of my bed. I needed a way to pass time that wasn't just staring at my wall, so I had to figure it out. So I took out my junk ass laptop onto my bed where
Which is sad that most people would go towards entertainment to not be bored anymore. Like, to be able to rather self cultivate or self improve, like they like to say, is so much harder, and it's not like the first thing people would go to. But it's definitely one of the things that if you were to do that instead, you'd feel much better. Like it, like you would instantly feel so much better after you start, or even during it, you'd feel good. But going to entertainment, the moment you start feeling less and less. There's just like such a huge difference depending on the choice you make right then and there. It's crazy. This is starting to sound like a self-improvement video, isn't it?
I now spent all of my day, unless I had to like take a shit, and I booted up League of Legends.
Take the taco dookie.
The perfect way to waste hours at a time. I didn't even care about actually strategizing. That would take too much of my brain. I would just throw myself into the enemy champion over and over and hope they just feed to me. People would light me up in the chat just, how do you not know that you need to have the jungle warded at 2:30? That's when the jungle ends their camp and they're most likely gonna gank you and you need to...
That actually happens a lot. It's super sad. Even in casual quick play games, that happens. I personally turned off chat whenever I plan to play.
Mute. And I would just keep clicking and clicking, using websites to tell me how to build my characters without even reading what items do. At this point, it wasn't even just wasting my life playing video games. I feel like you can really build an amazing hobby out of playing video games. I'm of the opinion that video games in their own way are art. I really enjoy seeing smaller creators showing their creativity and their intricate stories through gameplay, immersing yourself into a new world and coming up with...
Okay, this is actually pretty cool. I want to know what game this one is. Like, are you kidding me? It reminds me of Mega Man Battle Network. I want to play this one. Does anyone know what this one is? Someone please tell me. I want to know, and I want to play it. I hit the wrong screen. There we go.
Solutions to a game's challenges are rewarding and genuinely good for you sometimes, I believe. Even these competitive games have so much to them, you know? Learning strategy, knowing when to take cover, when to go in for the fight, what items work.
A lot of my advice, though, and a lot of the things he's saying about competitive, doesn't just apply to PvP. A lot of this applies to just video gaming in general. But it does feel terrible to be competitive as well. I will say, the chances of you, if you weren't feeling competitive, the chances of you playing a game that's non-competitive before getting off to do something more like self-improvement, as an example, the chances of that shoots up so high compared to like driving yourself on an emotion of the very moment. It's like the difference between of thinking with your brain or thinking with your heart as a metaphor, because obviously both of them you think with your brain, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Well together, what times are best to strike, improving your accuracy, even cooperation amongst your teammates. But this isn't why I was here. I was here because I was depressed. I didn't give a single shit for strategy.
And the thing is, you're probably depressed because you're not choosing the right thing to do. You're feeling depressed because you thought you were proving yourself. You're feeling depressed because you're still in the same place you were when you picked up the game. You're feeling depressed because instead of trying to cultivate yourself in a certain skill or finding something that will actually like help you out, instead of living on a dream that only certain people can do without being realistic, is the biggest problem. And that's probably why you're feeling depressed. For me, yes, that was exactly my issue.
I was just watching time pass at this point. Not only now was I accomplishing nothing in real life, but I even gave up on working on my skill for the game. I would load up the
Banana.
game just so that there would be
Banana.
something happening in front of my eyes, waiting for life to change, waiting for the day I wake up and just
No, you make the
understand
life
what I need to
change.
be doing.
You
But
have to make the
there
life
will never
change.
be a day like that.
Hold on,
If
someone
you
hits a big
want
red button.
or need change, you need to be the one to implement that. I was waiting for change, but I was scared of it at the same time. Change will feel terrifying to you, but the best way to overcome
Here's the thing.
this fear.
You waiting for change is the same way as you. I feel like the chances of that is the same chance of you being number one in a video game. It's like there's so much copium and so much dreams that it sucks that people can't just dream and have that happen. Which is why I think ambitions is what you're gonna need. You're gonna need an ambition that is realistic. Not ambitious dream, but an ambition that you are planning and carving a path for and calculating it like it's a math equation. If the math equation is not adding to the right amount, if the path isn't going to where it should be, then it's time to change the formula.
Fear is to control the change. Don't just let it come to you. Be the
Come.
reason things are changing in your life. Take that new opportunity. Ask out the girl you've liked for years. Do something risky for once. At first, you will be so nervous, and you will fail sometimes. But failing is just another word.
But here's the thing. Funny enough, this is probably one of the craziest things that a lot of people don't realize. You're gonna fail a lot right? But you've actually going to fail a lot more times in a competitive video game than you fail, like, let's say, asking someone out. Isn't that crazy to think about? And yet people don't do it? Wow.
For growing. You will come out of those experiences stronger, and sometimes you will go for that radical change that will improve your life, and you will get exactly what you want. You cannot just wait for life to change. Life will change, but if you just let it change without at least giving your best effort to make it a change,
I think I hear
that you are
Undertale in the
passionate
background.
about, if you choose to ignore what you know needs to be done, then you will always be a victim to the world instead of taking control and becoming your own. Competitive games put me into a loop of nothingness. I only was able to overcome
Someone turn on the equalizer on their computer for the sound and tell me if you hear the Undertale. Because I think I hear it, but I don't have that on, so I don't know.
this by putting down the game and asking myself, what do I need to change in my life? And then I needed to start taking the steps. It was very overwhelming.
Two
at first.
steps.
It was
Two
a long
steps.
journey. I felt like I was already so far behind. I didn't even know what I cared about anymore. One step at a time, though, I learned myself. And I grew out of this phase of my life where my self-worth came from video games. I learned just how important change is to life. I can't keep trying to do the same thing forever. I need to expand my knowledge.
This is
and
such a
change
good
the
video.
pace
It's
as
so
often
hard.
as I can.
Ugh.
Or else
I feel
can
so
turn
much
into
of
a
this. I'm
robot
so
doing
glad
the
I
same
came across
thing
it.
Day in and day out. And eventually, one day, I would pass feeling nothing and contributing nothing. So, I finally let go of my elo and grew as a person. And I cannot be happier. I'm sure there are a lot of other reasons
I'm so
why
proud of
others
him.
would quit
Oh, that's so
competitive
good.
games. No one
Oh.
person can be the same, and I'm definitely a little weird. But maybe there's someone out there like me who this touches, and that's all I can hope for.
That's me!
But for now, I hope you guys have a good night, or day, or
Oh my god. He does the same thing I do for that end, the outro. That's great. I love this guy. Guys, you need to watch his stuff. He's so good. Remember, down in the description, go to his channel and support him. Oh, but yeah, wow. I wasn't expecting to get so invested in talking about this, and I hope you guys take these things to heart as well. I hope it's relatable. I hope it'll be. I hope you guys will be able to take a step forward. Of course, some step forwards you're gonna have to take a step back and like not turn around, but like, turn to the side, go the other way. But yeah, I hope I hope you guys have a good life too. If you guys enjoyed watching, please leave a like. It helps out a lot. And I'll see you guys next time with more videos like this. I hope I get to do more videos like this. I really do. If it doesn't work out, then just like I said, I'm going to take my own advice and then try something new. But if it does, then yes. What else was I going to say? If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. And I'll see if I can cover it if I relate to it. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.